Today on the DCiReporter, consumer drones are on the rise, but you can't fly them in DC. President Trump's announcement to end DACA means an uncertain future for over 800,000 young people. The fight for DC statehood continues after a citizens' referendum vote last year. Residents in Ward 7 enjoy Family Day. We'll take a look at two marches that took place earlier this year. And in our Places and People segment, we'll visit Baltimore City and the Dominican Republic through the lens of a drone. This is the DCiReporter. Welcome to the DCiReporter. My name is Franklin Garcia. You can watch us online at dctv.org or DCiReporter.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at DCiReporter. As the consumer market for drones continues to grow, more people are finding reasons to join the growing market. In the region, there's a drone users group that hosts the events and educates people on drone usage. We'll see what they're doing. Consumer drone sales more than doubled in the U.S. last year. As drones have become easier to fly, more people are taking on flying drones as a hobby. It is important to note that the D.C. area is under a no-fly zone within a 30-mile radius from the Reagan National Airport, which restricts consumer drone flying in all of D.C. In the D.C. metropolitan area, however, a drone users group with hundreds of members puts together events to educate and help grow interest in drone use.
Hi, I'm Will Selby. I'm here with DC Drone Users Group, and we're at the Barracks Row Fall Festival, and this is our display of drones. So over here on the right side, we have some of the moderate to advanced drones. Before drones were popular, it was a hobby community, and you would buy things such as this 3D robotics kit or this smaller kit. So you would get the arms or the frame here, you would get the motors, the propeller, the battery, the speed controllers, and then the flight controller here in a kit, and it would have instructions and you would put it together. So this was really helpful when something broke. Since you had built it, you knew you had a good experience for how to fix it. So this one's fairly large. In DC, you would need to register this, and in DC you can't fly the drones. These smaller versions, you don't need to register. They're cheaper to make, they're cheaper to repair, and you can also fly these indoors. So as we look down the line, we have some of the more commercial ones. So these are slightly more expensive, but they're commercially made, they're professionally made. So you can take these from your local Best Buy or Circuit City store, pull it out of the box, and you can start flying it. And these are typically made with cameras on them and gimbals. So you'll see applications such as photography or industrial inspection, real estate, examples like that. So these are much more pull out of the box and fly. They come with warranties. So this is more for a beginner user.
And this is something called a Fat Shark goggle, which basically takes what the drone sees from this camera and then sends it to this antenna, and you wear it and you can see what the drone sees, which makes it much easier to fly. This antenna over here, it transmits signal to here. So you can see where the drone is, you can see what orientation it is, and if you really wanted to, you could fly it just from this computer.
Drones range in size and price, and while nearly every adult can fly a drone, the FAA, or the Federal Aviation Administration, has the following requirements when flying drones in the U.S. In general, you have to register any drone that weighs more than 0.55 pounds. You need a special license for drones above 55 pounds, and drones should be kept at an altitude below 400 feet. Never fly within 5 miles of an airport, a stadium, or over groups of people. Drone registration is done online at a cost of $5. So far, more than 800,000 drone users have registered with the online site. President Trump is ending a program called DACA that was put in place to help young people legalize their immigration status. Now over 800,000 DACA recipients are counting on Congress to fix their immigration status. On September 5th, President Donald Trump announced that he would no longer renew a program known as DACA, or the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrival, put in place 5 years ago through an executive order by President Barack Obama. DACA is an executive order that grants legal status to young people that arrived in the U.S. when they were minors. The program was a temporary solution, but the U.S. Congress agreed on the passage of a permanent law called the DREAM Act.
I'm here because 800,000 people who might as well be citizens and should be citizens are American as much as you and I'm very proud to stand with Dreamers because they are certainly standing for our country and their country and the American country.
The DREAM Act would grant permanent status to over 1 million young undocumented people in the U.S. After it was announced that DACA would be terminated, hundreds of people took to the streets to march and protest.
Immigrants are welcome here, no hate, no fear. Immigrants are welcome here, no hate, no fear. Immigrants are welcome here, no.
My name is Angel Celestino. I come here from North Carolina, Henderson, and I feel like we all come here for one same cause, so that Donald Trump actually comes here and to actually make a change by bringing DACA and supporting it, because we feel like every student and every child that comes here from another country actually has an opportunity to make a freedom, to have freedom, and to make a change in this country, because we don't feel like every person is a bad person. We feel like everybody has an opportunity to actually make something of America, because America is not made of one single race. It's made of different races, because it's a hot pot, and we feel like we want to make a change for everyone, because we are all Americans, we're all citizens, and we all have the right to have an independence.
President Trump has said that the U.S. Congress should work on finding a solution to the recipients of DACA and has given Congress 6 months to fix the issue. It is unclear if 6 months is enough time to get support for a DREAM Act passage in Congress. Illinois U.S. Senator Dick Durbin first introduced the DREAM Act in Congress in 2001, and every attempt at passing the bill has failed the U.S. Congress.
Hi, my name is Ivan Hernandez. I'm a resident of Prince George's County, Maryland, and I'm here to protest what Trump is trying to do to DACA and take the dreams away from our dreamers. Immigrants have built this country and have made our country stronger, and it is absolutely un-American and unpatriotic to send people to countries that they may have never even remembered or don't even know the language of. The rhetoric and the pure hate that Trump is trying to advance his agenda to denounce DACA is absolutely un-American, and immigrants are welcome in this country.
Over 80% of D.C. voters said yes to D.C. statehood on a referendum last November. Now the mayor and other city officials are pursuing D.C. statehood in Congress. Last year, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser, along with D.C. Chairman Phil Mendelssohn and the statehood congressional delegation, revived effort to make the District of Columbia the 51st state.
The Statehood Commission approved a plan 2 meetings ago for how we can have a new legislative proposal to go to the council, which would put the question of statehood on the November ballot. Part of that plan was that a legal advisory committee would advise this commission. And that legal advisory committee was also tasked with drafting the Constitution that would be put before this commission and ultimately the council and ultimately the voters of the District of Columbia.
These efforts included drafting a state constitution and calling for a referendum vote by the citizens of the District of Columbia on whether they wanted the city to become a state. Over 85% of D.C. residents supported statehood for the District of Columbia in the referendum vote.
So somebody asked me, and she was very earnest. She really did not, she was from Maryland, actually. She served in the armed forces, and she asked me, she said, Mary, now what difference does it really make? And I said, we are Americans too. We pay taxes just like you, yet we don't have a vote in that capital of the United States. We want our congresswoman to vote. Let's hear it for Eleanor Holmes Norton. And we want 2 senators just like every other American. That's what we want. So I want to thank my team We decided, you heard, and we got feedback from a lot of people that we had to flip the process around. We're following the plan that Tennessee did to be admitted as a state in the union. And so many people have worked on this for decades are here. Where are all of our statehood organizations? Give them a big round of applause. Lawyers, members of my staff, and all of you came together to make sure that we could follow the process that Eleanor just outlined. Now it's up to DC residents. When I go out to talk about statehood, it's going to help to say that thousands upon thousands upon thousands of DC residents have accepted the boundaries, the Constitution, and a representative form of government, and that we will be ready. We will be ready to hand to a new Congress, and hopefully it's a Congress that thinks like we do.
Throughout 2017, the call for DC statehood has continued, and residents are calling on Congress to make DC the 51st state.
Name is Nelson Reimensteiner. I'm here with some citizens of the District of Columbia who are here to petition Congress to be exempt from federal income taxation like Puerto Rico and the territories until we get representation in Congress as though we were a state. And that's what this is about today. We have Democrats here, Republicans, statehood people, and it's a very good cross-section of the civic body of the District of Columbia. We're here at the Capitol to support legislation that's been introduced by Eleanor Holmes Norton in the past and now by Republicans in the House to exempt district residents from federal income taxation because we are not represented. We are taxed without our consent now. We're the only American citizens who are taxed without our consent by Congress. And we'd like to see that changed until we are treated like a state for purposes of voting representation.
Residents have held rallies, marches, and protests asking for DC statehood. The current call for DC statehood would make only the residential parts of the city a state and maintain the federal part of the city the national capital. The name of the new state would be the state of Washington, D.C., and the name of the national capital will remain Washington, D.C. Ward 7 in Southeast D.C. celebrated their Family Day with lots of entertainment, including at least one Michael Jackson lookalike. Ward 7 Family Day was held in September at the Washington Parks and People Riverside Center in nearby Marvin Gaye Park. The event, co-sponsored by D.C. Councilmember Vincent Gray, Deputy Mayor Courtney Snowden, and many organizations, brought together residents of Ward 7 for a day of celebration.
Hey everybody, it is so wonderful to be at Ward 7 Day. I'll tell you, the best part about Ward 7 are the people who live here. They say they make this community really wonderful, and today we're getting to celebrate just that. Now, you know, I got to talk a little bit about the fun stuff we have going on in the city. We've seen unemployment decrease to record low levels, and I could not be more excited about that. Malik's pretty excited too with that flag because DC works, and we just finished celebrating DC Works Day, and I got some big news to share. DC is on the move. We are working incredibly hard to ensure that everyone is getting back to work, and even the federal government agrees with us, and they've taken our workforce agency off of high risk after many, many years, 17 years of huge missteps and mistakes, and I couldn't be more proud of that fact. Muriel Bowser said she was going to deliver on that, and the mayor did, and I am so honored to be the person to help carry that work out. Have a great one. Happy Ward 7 Day, everybody.
The Family Day included vendors and organizations that wanted to have an opportunity to connect with the community. Many were looking forward to celebrating the recent progress in the ward.
Hi, my name is Lauren Grimes. I'm a Ward 7 resident, and I'm also vice chair of the Marshall Heights Civic Association. I'm here at the wonderful Ward 7 Day, and I'm so excited to celebrate my community. So this event is all about community. It's all about celebrating each other and unity and bringing folks out. And I mean, if you can see, there's tons of people here, and I'm so excited. So events like this are really important to get people to come out and learn about resources in the community and to meet their neighbors and find out about what's going on and how we can make our community stronger and better. We have a lot of issues that range from education to crime and safety and all of that, but it's nice to have these kinds of events to really see the positivity and, like I said, the unity that's happening all around us. So we need more things like this. We need more things like this. We need the community members to come out and support one another and love one another and just have peace. And this is going to help with the sustainability of the community and help us to just grow and progress. And I love it, and I'm glad that everyone's here. This is amazing.
The event also featured a stage for speakers, musicians, and entertainment. Shortly after the inauguration of President Donald Trump, 2 marches took place in Washington, D.C. These marches were historical, and many others have continued since the inauguration of President Trump. At the beginning of the year, hundreds of thousands of women came to protest the Trump administration in Washington, D.C. The January 21st Women's March on Washington was the largest political demonstration since the anti-Vietnam War protests in the 60s and 70s. Over 5 million women marched worldwide in more than 673 marches that day. At least 408 marches were reported in the different cities of the U.S.
Hi, I'm from Laurel, Maryland, so I'm local, and I'm here today because I care about women, I care about minorities, I care about religious minorities, and I support Planned Parenthood.
Women were advocating for legislation and policies regarding human rights and other issues, including women's rights, immigration reform, healthcare reform, LGBT rights, and other issues.
We're here marching on Washington with the Women's March on Washington.
These are our modern-day suffragette costumes. They're a lot more inclusive than the original ones.
Yes. And women's rights are human rights, and we all deserve those rights.
It's fine. I stand with women and Black Lives Matter. And
everything on the sign. Yes. Thank you.
We are here because we care about the power of the pussy!
Another march that was held early this year in D.C. was a tax march in April, asking President Donald Trump to release his tax returns to the public.
We believe, Mr. President, you must finally meet the same test as every other president, Democrat and Republican, since Watergate. Each of those presidents thought the public had a right to transparency and accountability, and each of them publicly released their taxes. President Trump has tossed this great American tradition in the trash can like a teenager trying to hide a lousy report card. And it seems to me, and it's particularly on my mind today when I think of the millions of people who are still working on their taxes and trying to make this form get in sync with that form. We'll talk about simplifying that mess down the road. But while all those working families are trying to finish their returns, they have a right, they have a basic right to know whether the president pays his fair share.
The march included a rally with various speakers, all making the same demand of the president.
An equal say and an equal chance for all of our people. At Demos, our name means the people. And today, my friends, the people of our great country are being cheated out of the fruits of our democracy. Because this weekend, millions of Americans are sending their hard-earned money to Washington and to state capitals, and we do it because it is our duty. We do it because it is right. And we do it because this country has invested in us, and we believe in what Americans can do together. We pay our taxes because we think our families and our neighbors deserve clean water, safe roads, schools worthy of our children. And yes, sometimes, without shame, our families and our neighbors deserve help. Help affording a doctor's visit or rent or food on the table. And why is that? Because too many jobs don't pay enough to pay the bills, and it's not their fault. That's what our taxes do for us, for our families and our neighbors. That's who we work for. But we're gathered here today to find out who is Donald Trump working for.
The call went unanswered by President Donald Trump, and no tax returns have been released. We're now going to leave you with some footage taken this year in Baltimore City and the Dominican Republic. This footage was taken with the DJI Mavic consumer drone, filmed in 4K. We hope you enjoy it. Remember, you can watch us online at dctv.org or DCiReporter.com. You can follow us on Twitter at DCiReporter. I'm Franklin Garcia, and I will see you next time on the DCi Reporter.